Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2. Allow me to introduce the Terran player in the blue, the 7-time GSL champion. It's the man, the myth, the Maru. Up against his nemesis, ranked #1 in the world by Dark. It's the final boss. It's Dark. A best of 7. Terran versus Zerg. I don't think there's a lot of middle ground on this one. Either it's going to be an epic, back-and-forth series that goes the distance, or a stomp. Probably in Dark's favor, based on how things have gone recently. But we don't have a lot of time to introduce. Just like Dark doesn't have a lot of time to get the first Zerglings out against the initial Reapers. Or I don't have a lot of time to beg you for likes and subscribes. And Jimmy, what are we? 1,238 likes on this series, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Dark versus Maru. One of the most iconic matchups. One of the best GSL finals I've ever seen. And when you get the opportunity, maybe go check that out from last year as well. I think it'll hold up. Or any time in the many years that both these players have been in high-profile series. Yeah, the early flirting between the Queens and the Reapers will continue, of course. A violent relationship, but it's kind of a love-hate thing. Without the love. But behind it, we're gonna fall back. Now, before we get too far into it, I do wanna... I've been making an active effort. Just breaking the fourth wall as Maru raises his. I've been making an active effort to explain a little more, even though it's kind of obvious to me watching 10,000 games and playing thousands more and disappointing myself. It might not be obvious to those who aren't as religiously watching StarCraft, why and where and when they're doing things. So, trying to make a bit more of an effort on that. Just like Dark is making sure this Reaper will ascend. Always dramatic. Where were we, though? Yes, so Maru lately, he won his 7th GSL, and then he dropped off a cliff for about 6 months. Feels like he didn't practice almost at all. Was doing the same kind of barracks all-ins. And not like Beyond style, just like I'm making 3 barracks marine and stimmy across the map. If that doesn't work, oh well. But in this last month, it feels like he's really picked it up again and is starting to show more characteristic results. So I'm hoping that Dark, well, you know what to expect from Dark, which is, of course, the unexpected. As starting things off with the Roach Ravager. But Maru, what I'm trying to say is I think Maru is going to be putting the effort in. I think he's kind of found that drive again going into IEM Katowice after last year's painful finals. A dramatic story, probably the most dramatic story in the history of StarCraft 2, but also one of the biggest upsets, if not the biggest one, in Maru's career. So, upsetting indeed. But starting out with 3 CC, he's got Hellions, he's got a Liberator behind. This is some greedy Terran. And Dark slipped out of... He built enough lings to bait the Hellions out of position. And now Maru is just following them over to the 3rd. And Dark shows up at the front door with a battering ram of Ravagers. Knocks out the stim. The add-ons are on the outside. He just lets the tech lab burn. Maru abandons the base already. The Hellions are coming back to defend. The door is almost completely destroyed at this stage. He will get 1 medevac out. That could end up making a huge difference. As even a single medevac could be the difference between losing all your SCVs and holding the line. The corrosive bows scattered throughout the field. A bit of a spray and pray situation for Dark here. The Zerglings taken out by the Hellions. He lost 7. Oh my god, he's losing so much to 1 Liberator. Dark's microing on the other side. The Ravagers landing hits. But he's lost a lot of drones as well. And Maru is on 3 command centers. Which means, oh, the Liberator's not dead. It is 16 kills. The Liberator single-cannonly just keeping Maru in the game right now. Dark only has 32 workers. And with mules from Maru, he just has to hold. But there's still a lot of Ravagers left over. The boys are pulled onto the line. The spray from the corrosive biles going to dot the field there, but a lot of the Zerglings are taken out. Another wave. A siege tank has completed And that means Dark may be forced to back off. Not really in his vocab. Oh my god, the Liberator has 22 kills! A single Liberator. There's only one queen left. Maru has denied essentially the entirety of the mining. Dark is all in right now. He has nothing behind this. Maru is pushed back into his main as well. It's not like he's doing well economically. Dark is it. The Liberator can only be one place at one time, and the heroic queen finally took it out. So I take it back just ever so slightly. And, some more corrosive bows. The siege tank on the low ground seems optimistic. He will actually use it in unsieged mode to try to bait out some fire. Some more Ravagers getting blasted away. Dark does such a great job. That was the first Ravager that died. He's kept all of the Ravagers alive. The priority on this, and he realizes the siege tank was unsieged. He actually has an Overlord for high ground vision. Maru is forced to retreat. And it's very risky to siege up your tanks against Ravagers because that just makes him a big old target for the corrosive miles. He gets one tank siege, takes out another Ravager, but Dark is keeping the pressure on. A game one that really shows what these two players are both capable of and willing to do. Denies stim for a second time. Don't do drugs, kid, says Dark. Or convicted felons who are Marines. I'm not exactly sure the lore on that. It's a bit of a muddied line. And Dark, heading for a Spire, possibly for Mutas. And I think, even though that Liberator did terrible, terrible damage, it killed, like, 18 drones and 3 queens. Those all died to the one Liberator. It wasn't enough. I think, with the denial of stim, and the fact that Dark was able to bounce back to 60 drones now, while keeping the Ravagers alive, I can't stress enough. Dark, he's like a sumo wrestler, okay? It might seem like he's just throwing his weight around, but he does it with finesse and with purpose and a lot of inertia. And it's very hard that once Dark gets going a certain direction, it's very hard to stop him continuing so. And that's what we've seen here, is that even though Maru was able to undercut him, the general direction, the trajectory of this game still is in Dark's favor. A scan. A very, very important scan. Though I'm not sure what else he can do about it, because he's going to see the Spire literally finishing. He saw Roach Speed and double Evo Chamber. So Maru's only choice at this stage. He has two choices. Though, neither of them are good ones. One is sit back and try to defend, and hope that Dark is a bit too cost-effective. He invests everything into some sort of lair tech attack, and Maru can hold it. Option 2 is that the best defense is good offense. Put yourself out there, try to pick off the Mutas, get whatever you can, and work with that. But he doesn't even have stim done yet. He doesn't have combat shield started. He started 2-2. It's because the tech labs have been such a liability. There's not even a turret. A single... Oh my god, this is the most Dark thing I've ever seen. He made one Muta. One. That is... It's a scouting Muta. Alright. This is Da Vinci, the scouting Muta. Why make many Muta when one Muta do trick? The idea here completely to just... Any effort that Maru puts in to defending it. Well, he's got to defend this whole attack, though. The corrosive bows knocking through the first set. And Jimmy, oh my! Maru holding the line. And with it, the Roach Ravager, it's kind of thinning out, but the lack of combat shield on those units. The Marines unable to hold the line, at least solidly. He lost 12 SCVs. Thing is, Dark can do this again. He's got 64 drones behind. He's got +2 Carapace on the way. Maru's army is getting more and more cost-effective, but he has to keep replenishing SCVs. And if he doesn't, he's essentially just all in. He's building one SCV right now. He's entirely focused on unit production. And now, on knocking out that many Marines, on convincing Maru, that's the benefit of having the Spire, which is usually a little bit too costly to do this, but he's just continually keeping Maru off balance. It's a 70 supply gap. No turrets in the main. He convinced him with Da Vinci, the scouting Muta. Oh, but now the Marines finally 12 minutes in finish combat shield. That is, calling that late is a bit of an understatement. But at least it finished, I guess. And Maru will have 2-2. He's got a dream, he's got a hope, but he's got not too much more than that. It's 40 workers to 71. Dark has maintained control of this game. Maru has poked and prodded, but here comes Dark. The roaches are streaming through. The siege tank count isn't nearly high enough. The boys have to be pulled for what seems like the 10th time this game. More corrosive biles. The mutas take out the tank. The Marines are standing their ground in the midst of the Roach Ravager, doing a quite a good job, actually, of holding the line, as he does have 2-2 versus 1-1 with plenty of medevacs. But the sheer biomass of Dark seems to be far too much. I keep saying that, but Maru keeps not dying. The key part is every single time he cuts down the economy, Maru loads up to go send out a drop, and Dark comes right back in. It's not about being cost effective, it's just about being effective. Dark hasn't lost a single building on his side of the map, let alone hatcheries. Now, the roaches are quite mediocre against the Marine Marauder, but again, it's a numbers game. Some Whittle Mines out there, the poor man's siege tank, and Maru just taps it out. Game 1 goes to Dark with his in-your-face, stiff-arm Roach Ravager strategy. But keeping his options open, I think that's a key part of it, is with the Spire, he's not locked into any sort of these all-ins. Maru did one of the greediest openers, which is the 3cc into Liberator. While Liberators are great, they're no Banshee. They don't help nearly as much on defense. So going into game 2, yeah, that Liberator did probably way better than it ever... Oh my, Maru. Well, Jimmy, game 2. And... there's a proxy Rex, but just one. Is this going to be the split proxy, where he builds one at home as well? I'm not... Just a single Rex. I guess the Reaper gets in a little quicker. And he is mining gas, so that indicates very likely a Reaper. Occasionally you'll see a factory, but this is to... And yes, those 10-15 seconds make the difference. Dark may very well scout it with the Ovi, but by the time he scouts it, the Reaper's most of the way done anyways. There's not much more time to respond. But that SCV came from a very suspicious... The Overlord, like, whoa! Where did he come from? Ah, he's gonna go for the bunker. Well, the boys... Well, the drones are pulled. I don't think they qualify the same way. That SCV, he didn't see the bunker yet. Yeah, he doesn't see the bunker with the vision. He just knows that SCV should not be coming in from that angle. All right, that's not a normal flight path right there. And now the Zerglings. Well, Maru behind it is expanding. This is a bit of a paper tiger sort of build here. As Maru... Dark doesn't actually know how many barracks there are. He doesn't know... Well, he technically knows there is at least one, because there's a Reaper here, but there could be 2-3 racks in total. But it is just the one, and until this Overlord scouts, Dark has to be considering that there's more to this, and that's why he's only at 20 drones right now. He built enough Zerglings to deal with multi-racks Reaper. So, Maru has, with this sort of little mind game here, I think ground himself a pretty solid position. As Dark, his speed is delayed. He built a lot of lings. Maru is possibly the most iconic proxy Rexer in StarCraft 2 history. He's won multiple GSL finals and beaten a lot of the best players in the world by casually whipping out a proxy of some sort at a key point in the series. Sometimes most of the series. If you remember the old Cyclone years. So, I think Dark taking it so seriously that he actually ends up a little behind. Does end up killing the Reaper, but Maru's going to get 3 CCs comfortably There's no chance of a Roach all-in hitting before Maru, and he left space. I think he's going to go Banshee based on the positioning of that starport. So little mind games have big results potentially, and Maru's going to get away with 3 CC relatively safely. Banshee, Cloak, on the way. I think this is partially Dark putting the fear in his heart. Like, Banshees have been the tried and true strategy for most of Maru's life. Alright? SC2's been out over half the years Maru's been alive, and he's been... his first professional match was at the age of 13 in GSL. That was 14 years ago. Ooh. But here we are. Hellion Banshee with 3 CC still. The details may vary slightly, but still the staple opener in Terran versus Zerg. You get all your bases covered, literally and figuratively. Banshee gives you that early defense and harass potential. The Hellions to keep control of the creep and shut down early Zerglings. Occasionally nowadays you'll mix in Cyclones, especially. He's actually going for Hurricane Thrusters. Cyclone speed. It's going to be a Hell Clone and maybe a Hell She build. The Hyper She's could... the only unit who could really keep up with this sort of mobile unit composition. We'll see here. He finished Cloak. Either way, 3 Cyclones at a time. This is designed to continue keeping map control. Essentially the opposite of the style of build Maru was going for last game, which kind of cedes map control in favor of getting more production up. Once the Cyclone speed completes, just getting out on the map, staying at the edge of the creep, and picking off units incredibly cost effectively will be the order of the day. And the Banshees are headed towards the main. Does he have a Spore? Of course there's a Spore. There's a Spore at the 3rd base, but it's more of a deterrent and isn't doing too much at the moment. Infestation Pit, 4 Cyclones at a time being produced. As another 3 factories done. Has Dark seen any of this? He has no idea. Dark does not have a Roach Horn, and without Roach Ravager, oh my god, there's the Hyper Sheath. Without Roach Ravager, this is entirely reliant on catching your opponent unprepared. Does he build a Roach Horn immediately? I think we just go for Infestors and pray here. As it's spotted now, the Cyclones take down an Overlord. Maru actually has a supply lead right now. Dark is going to get a Hydralisk Den, which is a bit of a desperation option, I think, at this stage. There's an Infestor. But Maru might be blindsiding Dark with these Cyclones. A whirlwind of destruction here. There's not even Baneling speed. The Queens are on their own, and they can't even close the distance. Oh my, the Baneling's getting stuck behind. Queen's getting picked off. Lings and Banes trying to wrap around, but the creep does not extend far enough. Most of the Queens are already dead. He killed the Overseer, which means the Banshees are just going to work on the Queens. A few Cyclones will go down. But without Baneling speed, they can't close the distance on the rest. The split is easy enough. And Maru grinds his way through the rest of the Ling Bane. An Infestor pops out, but it's spotted by the Banshees. And even now, he throws out a Fungal. What's he going to follow it up with? The Zerglings, yes, but 1-1 is done. Okay, I take it back. The Zerglings do pretty well when they have the upgrades. They are quite glass cannons here, these Cyclones. But the Banshee's getting work done. At the 4th, Dark is bleeding out drones. Maru's production has not stopped, and Maru will tie up the series 1-1. Beautifully done. He completely masked that that timing right up until he showed the Cyclones. He kept his cards close to his chest because Maru is not known for playing mech. It is the default. Like, if you're in the dark, or you are dark in the dark, you're just kind of defaulting to think it's going to be Marines, maybe Marine tank, Maybe mines if he's feeling spicy. But I think... So Maru has always been the master of longer series. This is why he's been a multi-GSL champion, but in my opinion, and just results-wise, has struggled outside of those tournaments. Game 3, Golden Aura. It's because Maru knows how to play. He knows how to mind game his opponent. He knows how to prepare directly. The more time he has to prepare for a certain player, the better he can manipulate them. And there are few players he's played more often than Dark. And that's one of those builds that I love the timing of it too. Game 2. It's a bit map dependent, I think, what he did, but also just series dependent. I think that's a very good build to whip out in the first couple games of a series. So now it's in the back of Dark's mind. Like, if he sees a Proxy Rex, if he sees Hellions, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be that default Marine tank timing. So Maru has just bought himself potentially more space in the rest of the games of the series just by doing that build. Because I doubt Dark is going to skip the Roach Warren again. Because that was the issue at the end of the day. Without the Roaches to back up the Zerglings, they just get picked off by the Cyclone Hellion. They just can't get it done, as we saw there. It is a unit composition that you need to prepare for before it shows up on your doorstep, as opposed to react to afterwards. Maru with an incredibly greedy 3cc. Oh my god. Even before the command center at the natural finish, even not bothering with any shenanigans here. Like, now I can go back to 3C. Okay. Alright. Greedier than YouTubers who just beg for likes and subscribes right at the beginning of the game. Starport on the way. Second gas just now starting. I don't think Dark will do Roach Hauling again. This isn't really the map for it. Part of the reason the Roach Hauling works so well, by the way, is because we were on a map... Well, because Maru went 2 Rags Reaper. And he was on the side of the map where the add-ons are exposed. So, if he breaks through the wall, he's breaking through a lot of the infrastructure, like he did on Oceanborn. But this isn't going to be a 2 Rags Reaper build, obviously. This is top of the ramp, hidden, and not vulnerable. 1-1-1 with the 3rd CC. A Viking first. Maru's like, alright, I got my early timing, and now I'm going to get as greedy as possible. And the Viking, not known for its fighting capabilities on the ground. It can be annoying, but it's no Liberator, it's no Banshee. It's not going to stop a Roach Hauling potentially on its own. But it definitely will deny the Overlords. Hellion staying very active. I gotta say, I'm already... well, we're 2 games in. It's 1-1, so obviously Maru's doing much better. But literally, Maru did the same build. Same, in my opinion, lazy build for like 2 months straight after he won GSL, which to me very much said, I'm not practicing and I'm just putting the time in right now. I'm just punching the clock, essentially. But this is much more like the strategical mastermind who's always murdering you with a smile. That Maru is. One of the... In contrast to Dark, one of the most happy-looking players, always smiling, always laughing. And then he just rips your heart out. That's his go-to in the GSL, at least. The Viking cleared up the path, so that way the Liberator could go unscouted. Yeah, Dark read it. He's already he's spotted... Oh, wait. He actually didn't anticipate the Liberator. He thought it might be a Banshee. He was repositioning the Spore at the timing. But the Spore Crawler, unfortunately... Oh, this is an awkward space here. No, Brenda. Brenda, no! Oh, that's actually convenient. Maru sieges up. A bit of the wrong spot there, I would say. Oh yeah, I guess gets taken out. This time around, the Liberator not getting 22 kills. Uncontested. The Spore Crawler bravely taking it down. Well, it's not so brave. The Spore Crawler is the only thing that can't be attacked by the Liberator, but, you know, we'll give it credit where credit's due. Hellions poking and prodding. A lot of Hellions built by Maru, but it is going to be Marines with +1 upgrade follow-up. Looks like Dark about the same timing. Maybe a little behind on the 1-1, but comparable. Maru's going to be adding the mines in this time around, anticipating the mass Ling Bang. Little Brenda bounce there. Knocks out the creep. He's been doing an incredible job. He did build a lot of Hellions, which is almost always the intent. Actually, creep backwards. Almost always the intent is to keep direct control of the creep. Without the vision, without the speed, it becomes a lot harder to really efficiently or at all trade with the Terran army. But Baneling speed, still pretty far off. Maru, though, doesn't have much at his third. Dark finishes his upgrades at the same time. Queen's the fourth base, the focal point here. The next level of production that Dark really needs to stay competitive, assuming he doesn't do some economic damage. Which might be a strong assumption. He's got a bunch of Ling Banes on the other side. He's only got 64 drones, so Dark has not gotten greedy here, but instead is intent on doing a large and in-charge counterattack. But the SCVs are already on the run. The Widow Mines will burrow, but the door is open. A couple Banes get through, but Maru! A lot of SCV is going to be very uncomfortable after that. But Maru cleans it up, and he does a mine drop simultaneously here, which Dark dealt with relatively cleanly. But that did not get it done. He killed 1 SCVs, which is not very many. So all those Lings and Banes... Oh my god, he didn't actually kill the mine. Oh, cleans it up there. But Maru has a 20 supply lead. He's got 2-2 started. Dark did not. This is actually disastrous for Dark. Maru held the line, and now he's keeping him busy with these mine drops here. He almost targets the Queen. Looked like he might double target there for a moment. The creep is barely extended at all, which means Maru is relatively free to move medevacs around out of vision. And that's why he's able to get into the main and unload all these Marines before Dark is able to respond. He will get pushed back by all the Lings and Banes, but again, Dark is not on the other side of the map. He's not able to keep pressure on Maru. He's building 6 Infestors, which is quite a crazy choice. Did he start a hive? No. No hive on the way. Just now started 2-2. It's going to be on Dark to defend for several minutes now. He needs to hold the line until this hive completes. He can get another level of tech, because Maru's going to have 2-2. Maru has more army supply. Maru has a better position with his units, and Maru is pushing at his 4th. But a beautiful Funko with a Widow Mine Wombo combo! And a fight just like that! The entire Bio Army gets wiped off the map. The mechanical units left over wondering where their counterparts went. Another mine. He saves the tank. And no one else. Unless these Widow Mines are allowed to fire again, in which case that would be very disappointing. But another attack here. The Infestor's leading the charge. He's able to pick up and get out. The mines will fire again, quite concerningly. But Dark holds. Oh no. The transfuses actually mitigate all of the mine shots. The Spore Crawler bravely coming up here. A tank is going to siege. Dark trying to draw the Widow Mine fire in. Doing a good job so far. Widow Mine's cut both ways. And so far, Dark is holding. But at what cost? The Queens. God, the tank's hitting so hard. Finally going to be cleaned up, but more Marines in towards the natural. Dark. He's keeping it together. The Infestors have been the saving grace thus far. But these Widow Mines continue recharging. He barely gets that one in time. The Spore Crawler, the real hero here. A single Widow Mine eats a hit. I'm gonna clean up the other. A single Viking will challenge the Overseer. And for now, Dark holds. But at what cost? 189 to 150 supply. Maru did not start 3-3 upgrades. The Burrowed Infestors spotted on the most obvious location to clear the creep, unfortunately. And Maru gonna keep the pressure on, hitting from both sides. Every time Dark swings right, Maru hits the left again. Oh, no, 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 no! Oh my god! The Widow Mine from downtown! It hits a couple dozen lings, and that might be the grenade that broke the camel's face. And he needed those Zerglings, and he's not going to have them. 52 lings in this fight, with very few Marines and Marauders in trade. The Hydras are coming up, helping out a lot against the well-spread, just a single G from Dark, which I'm sure was totally an accident. Oh, Dark. Maru takes it with a relatively clean execution. Dark not able to find his footing, really at all. And Maru just keeping complete control. That is top tier Maru right there. Keeping complete control of the creep, keeping Dark pinned back into his base, and eventually crushed under the weight of the Terran. And that's going to be 2-1 for Maru. All right, Maru's back. I'm calling it. No matter how these next games... All right, I'm taking this moment before Maru disappoints me again. Honestly, just playing games like this at all is a split from the Maru we saw for the last few months, which is very exciting. As great as Clem is, Maru has definitely been... Clem feels like a Cyril-esque player, where it's like, well, yeah, that's what you do. Like, you watch it, it's clear. And this is what I think a lot of the European players are. They're not strategic in the sense, like they're trying to win a series, but instead they're trying to win all the games, if that makes sense. Like, they've mastered the most wide-reaching style for the matchup and are incredibly good at that. Cyril and Clem are great examples of this. Whereas a lot of the Korean players who have historically played a lot more of best of sevens against a single player, or have a single or two opponents for this week as opposed to potentially half a dozen, are much better at coming up with essentially like a deck of builds. A roguelike deck builder, which is puns intended, because Rogue is possibly the best Zerg player in the history of the game to have that deck of builds, beating Maru multiple times with his very special ones. Dark loses a drone to a Reaper, which is, very emotionally taxing, but not too devastating. Behind it, 3cc, of course. Almost thought that was another command set. That would have been a bridge too far even for Maru. Overlord should get in and see pretty much everything. Single Marine going to boldly go. And is he actually going to try to get out? Is that going to work? More important question. There's a Roach one out of Dark, and it's before the 4-minute mark. So this is... So you kind of keep it ambiguous on this map. He could just make the 5 to 8 Roaches that are for boxing out the Hellions and putting the fear in Maru's heart, or this could be the battering ram, where he tries to break down the door and everyone else. And Maru is sticking to the same build he did last game. He's going a bunch of Hellions and a Viking, none of which are particularly great against mass Roaches early. Dark has 6 more drones on the way, going to about 40, a little under. 6 Roaches in production. The Viking killed the Ovi. Now we see, does he go for the kill himself? Because Maru This is a big vulnerability window. Maru has to know that. There's a bunch of roaches on the way, more overlords, which is why we don't see anything else in production. Dark is mining off of 3 gases, and he's not getting a layer. It's the battering ram. Here he comes. 3 Ravagers. Enough to one-shot siege tanks, Liberators while they're sieged. Just a good general support. The Hellions. Oh, he's in the dark right now. The Liberator can't take the watchtower. He doesn't see anything. There's no vision of this at all. The Liberator's coming up. Maru, he realizes he's canceling everything. Abandoned ship. Retreat. Fall back to the keep. But the Hellions are cut off by the Ravagers, which have already arrived. Literally body blocked out of the base. He remembers he can open the depots, but he's already lost so many Hellions. The bunkers will not complete. The Ravagers, they don't get the shots on to the Liberator. And that's a very, very important point. The bunkers are finishing. If there's any Marines left over, they can actually get inside of it. Only a couple. He's trying to dodge into what bunkers survive, but the Liberator sieged up in range of the Ravagers. He missed! He missed a shot! Oh, that's a costly one. But does it matter? The Viking on deck. The Liberator sieges up again. Might get one shot. No. And a siege tank on the high ground. I think missing that shot on the Liberator is the only reason Maru's still in the game. Ah, but the siege tank is in range. The Ravagers come up and Maru goes out just like that. Wow. All right. Maru figured it out, but it was too late. Dark ties it up. Maru did the same. I was talking about how good Maru is about, like, playing that full series. He did the same build twice in a row. Dark adapted and smashed him. Just smashed him. Perfect timing. Great execution. Not perfect execution. Great execution. And we're all tied up at 2-2. Wow. And there's a reason he's called the final boss. Well, partially because no matter what, he makes it entertaining. But also, he can shake off any loss or use it against you. Honestly, it's that zest-like quality. Come back to a zest. That, whatever happened the last game, the only thing it applies to is how I'm going to make it painful for you in this one. Okay, he doesn't really get tilted. That's not true. Dark definitely gets tilted. But he just so calm and collected. Maybe not calm and collected, but the pressure seems to be a positive rather than a negative for him in high-profile matches. This is a very complicated way of saying he plays well when there's a lot on the line. He's a world champion. He's a multi-time world finalist. Keep going back to that Dark versus Beyond series. He's a GSL champion and finalist. And of course, he plays in every single tournament. Dark played somewhere around, I want to say, 2,200 professional matches of StarCraft 2 in 2023. And he won, and this is not a meme, 69% of his games. Almost, it's like 68.95%, which, you know, I choose to believe was intentional. But he essentially played, well, he played more matches in professional tournaments with money on the line than probably everyone but 6 people watching this played on the ladder in their entire careers. Almost certainly on the ladder last year. So it's not that Maru and Cyril aren't putting the work in, but they have notoriously been players who only play in the highest profile tournament. I think the argument that you're hiding your builds or like practicing for these big tournaments has mostly been debunked to an extent. I think the value of that is significantly less than it might have once been. Like players like Clem, and Raynor and Max Packs kind of disprove that a bit. And Dark, of course. But it is like Cyril and Maru are millionaires off of StarCraft 2 prize pool alone. So they also don't probably feel as interested in caring about a $200 weekly tournament, maybe at a time zone that isn't great for them. So there's also possibly that. Because Maru has multiple times been asked at the beginning of a GSL season of like, how do you feel? Why are you still playing? Like, what gets you interested in the game? And he's like, money. I like winning because I get money. Like, I'm like, all right, Maru. They hit. Dark's like, to see my enemies flee before me and hear the lamentations of their women. And also money. I don't... Well, Hellbat push. Well, this is... There are 11 roaches on the way. I completely ignored the Hellbat push. What year is it? Maru, get off my creep! Terran! Oh my god, nice shot. Wow. And a thank you, suit. Oh, I'm sorry, I blacked out for a second. I was too busy reminiscing about how bad Hellbat pushes are. What the hell is this, Maru? What the hell bat is this, Maru? It did not go well. He lost everything. He killed 3 drones, and now Dark has a bunch of roaches. Dark understands that these roaches are very unlikely to do damage. So, he's building a ton of drones behind. Even though the worker count is about even, this was a 2-base Hellbat push. This is what we like to call it the business, not good. 3cc Hellbat, maybe. Just as something to keep the pressure on. I don't know. I haven't seen that build work in like 5 years. I have no idea. Oh god, did I curse Maru? He's gonna send the Hellions in. Try to get some damage. If he kills like 10 drones, that's the number. I'm putting 10 drones down as the number. That's what he needs in order to make this worth. And he's getting there. Unfortunately, the roaches are already inside the house. 10 drones and also not losing a bunch of SCVs. And also having a 3rd CC. Will we actually just get the tech lab? Yeah, sure. No cloak. That's not for the roaches. That's for everyone back at home to worry about. That's the second time he's just let tech labs burn. And Maru baited out more roaches by doing the Hellion run by. You know, this might just end. This is too much damage. This is terrible, terrible damage. There's nothing in the bunker. The wall is not holding. The Banshee didn't finish off the roaches in the main. The depot's dead again. This is an absolute disaster for Maru. Even a Predator drone here for moral support. Maru finishes his 3rd CC. There's a Spire already on the way. Another dozen drones. Dark is over 60 drones with double digits in production. This is a tragedy. And this, my friends, is why we don't do Hellbat pushes anymore. The Hellbats just don't get anything done. Like, they don't do anything that usually the Hellion Banshee wouldn't on its own. I feel like they don't really fill any sort of niche in the early game, and that's fine, as long as they fill one later. There are already an incredible variety of great options off of a reactor factory. Hellbats don't need to be... Oh, that must be stressful for the drone. Canceled the hatch and re-expanded before the Banshee shot landed there. Because buildings start with about 10% of their HP. The Spire's done, the Mutas are on the way, and GG will soon follow. That is my prediction. As Maru is desperately dropping every mule. He's gonna land his 3rd. There's roach speed on the way, though. The creep spread looking good. If Maru scouts the Mutas with the Banshees, maybe? And remember, the Banshees do not have cloak. Because the roaches just took it out. Bunch of roaches on the way. 1-1. So, Maru's going to have the upgrades. He's got a bunch of SCVs. Not enough, though. Like, if Dark throws all these Mutas away... That's awkward. And Maru does a bunch of damage with it. Oh, wait. Is there anything at home? Nope, all the Marines are in those medevacs. Just fight the Marines. Okay. Turret in the main. The double drop. It's bad. It's really bad. Okay, yeah, go ahead. 10 more SCVs. A drop coming in, gonna kill a few drones. You know, the Marines. I'm just looking for what they can get. Double drop. Maru try to make it work, but there's already plenty at home. The tank. Who cares? Great Muta micro. 1-1 done for the Marines. Maru's not tapping it out yet. He's gonna come back for the medevacs now. Dark, looky, he's on an intercept course, and the boost runs out. Down goes a full medevac. Another one unloads the Marines who are born to die. Well, this has been a series of unfortunate events. Maru. The half-hearted Hellbat push into the quarter-hearted medevac timing. Directly into the heart of the swarm. It's a disaster. Maru. Well, if he can survive. The thing is, there's no counter damage. There's nothing stopping Dark from doing this as many times as he needs to. But apparently once was enough. Well, Dark's up 3-2. Maru seems to have lost a lot of steam here. And Dark has regained control of the series. He's on match point. And in a very dark fashion, making sure Maru gets shut down early and unable to essentially play the rest of the game. Well, heading in to match point. Solaris. But Solar is not here. We'll see what Maru comes up with. Yeah, that felt like one of those, like, I'll throw this one in. But that's not a build. I'm not a big fan of pulling that build out at game 5 of a series. That's like a game 1 or 2. Much like the Cyclone build from earlier. And it cost him. As Hellbats can be countered by, honestly, just Queens. And the fact he had Roaches just made it easier. Alright, Maru. Step up or step out. Now's the time. Is going to be. He hasn't tried a Reaper build again. I mean, building one Reaper, proxied or otherwise, is not a Reaper build. It's just, you know, existence. Gets a couple lings, but the grenade, oh, gets the Queen bounce. 2 CCs behind. Snap back to reality. No Zergling speed out of Dark. No Zergling speed out of Dark? What's up with that? Is he getting a lair? Is this a Nidus? He's hiding some. There's no way he forgets Zergling speed, right? He's really trying to box out this Reaper. There's a Roach one. He's gonna do it again. So this game, I think, now hinges on whether Maru builds a Banshee. The Reaper is being very active here. He's building a Viking first. The Roach one, Dark is going up to 40 drones, which is a solid number to either commit all the way to the Roaches, or just enough to kind of box out early and then follow it up. They're just more reliable than Zerglings against someone who's near perfect Hellion micro, so. Banshee. Maru came to win. Alright, thank God. Everything, like, he's tried everything else. It did not work. The Banshee is the only reliable option. Well, I guess Battlecruiser maybe, but... especially if you're gonna go Viking first, if you don't follow it up with Banshee, that's just reckless disregard for your own safety. And here come the Roach Ravagers. This got scouted so early, and there's not a bunch of Lings behind. Dark is already following it up with more drones. We got the 1-1, or the double engineering bait. Now, he might be under-preparing at this stage. The Banshee comes out, Dark turns around. The Banshee comes out just like that, tucks tail, runs away. Throws out the spray and pray. But with the bubulas here, the speed zones, actually a little too fast for some of the... Gets a Hellion. The exchanges across the field, but he makes it back to the creep. And loses a few roaches, so this is... I can't stress how much easier this is for Maru than the previous games now. Because it's a known quantity. He goes for that much Roach Ravager, and look, he's gonna kill some drones. Wow, I'm surprised the Roach Ravager didn't respond in time here. 4 drones, doesn't really lose much more. He's only lost 3 Hellions and a Reaper so far. Dark's drone count isn't overwhelming yet, though it's getting there. But a key part is going to be the upgrades. This sort of unit composition on both sides, both Marines, Marauders, Siege Tanks up against, especially the Roaches, is very upgrade dependent. It's a kind of battle that really tilts in favor of whoever is able to get momentum early. You have twice as many Marines as you need, you're just going to crush it. Whereas about half, the numbers don't lie. I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. The summary is, since every unit takes a lot to kill each other, a lot of shots, both Roaches and Marines, and they both, well, in this case, oh my god, how hard is it?
The numbers don't lie, and they spell
the Carapace upgrades for the Roaches will block a lot of Marine shots, whereas the infantry weapons upgrade will counteract those. So if Maru has the infantry weapons and Dark doesn't have his Carapace, the Marine's more good. There, not hard. I mean, I think everyone already knew that. It didn't need explaining, but here we are. Probably more than almost any other unit in the game, Marines benefit from those weapon upgrades. That's why almost every Terran build and timing revolves around plus 1 attack and stim specifically. Just like right now where Maru's headed out. He's got +1, he's got stim, he's got his first 2 medevacs and combat shield on the way. Meanwhile, Dark, 70 drones, 70 workers apiece. Dark is taking a 4th and a 5th. He's actually taking the Rich Vespine base. We'll see if he ends up actually using it. The Roaches come down to respond. We're just going to pick up, use the speed zone to evacuate even more quickly. There are 3 more barracks in production and another factory. It's going to be full-on Marine Marauder siege tank here. You might... there's no reason to switch to Widow Mines right now. It's going to be a lot of siege tanks. Meanwhile, Dark has his hive in production. Zergling speed, remember? He's building the Lings. Getting +1 melee. Banshee. Still moving around. Does he have the other Banshee? No, he lost it somewhere. Dark actually expanding entirely along the edge of the map, as opposed to forward. Making it a little less vulnerable to these drops. But he does have to extend up to the north side to deal with another set of medevacs. Drilling Claw's on the way. I may have spoken too soon, but not really an expensive upgrade. Oh, the Fungal locks down some of the Marines. Catches more. Maru got a bit greedy. Thought he could stutter step down the hatchery, but the infestors made sure there was no getting out of that. And now, for what seems like actually the first time in this series, we're getting to the late game. Both these players have been so in-your-face, aggressive, and decisive. We haven't made it there thus far, but the drops are getting cleaned up. An Ultralisk Cavern is in production. Vipers as well, Adrenal Glands, and 4 more command centers for Maru. So no slouch in these late game scenarios, as the command centers per minute is nearly approaching 1 at, oh, that changeling. Hey guys, in the pipe, 5x5, am I right? Ah! No, Brenda! The Infestor getting chased down by a Banshee. So the Banshee's still paying dividends here. But Dark is solidifying his position. He's going to have those Hive Tech upgrades. He's going to have the incredibly important Vipers. He's finishing +2 Carapace soon. But Maru has not really been under any pressure on his side of the map. So he's been perfectly fine to build up his production, his command centers. He's got a Ghost Academy on the way, a little late. But there's nothing he really needs it for. Always helpful, but not critical until there are Ultras or Vipers on the field. Which, well, here we go. Ghost Academy on the way. Widowmine drop headed out with Drilling Claws specifically. The Lingbane looking to engage, but the mines discourage it. The Vipers at the front. Gonna eat the mine hits. Decent hit to start. Blinding Cloud, Parasitic Bomb. One Viper yanks in. I think he meant to get the tank, but he actually misclicked a bit. The Banelings are crashing through. Maru is scrambling back with the rest of his army. Kills 20 SCVs. Dark forces the base to lift. He doesn't actually have Burrow, which is, I think, something he may fix soon. Drilling Claws drop. Very annoying to deal with. He's going to scatter it throughout the bases as well. Decent counter damage here. Gonna find some more drones. And the Marines standing their ground without Banelings, without Ultras. The Marines are going to be more than enough with an upgrade advantage. 2-2 done against just 1-2 Lings. They do have Adrenal Glands if they could ever close the distance to attack. Ultralisk speed on the way behind chitinous plating. Fully upgraded armor in production. +3. Hydralisk Den and Spire as well joining the production tab. Maru's command centers pretty much everywhere and then some. Ultralisk to defend the main. And indeed it will. Oh, the medevac's taking a lot of damage. Anything left behind, chopped to pieces. And Dark starting to bank up, but Maru is building ghosts. That ultimate late game counter to gestures wildly at Zerg. Burrow on the way for Dark. Burrowed Infestors. The probably most consistent, even though they are inherently inconsistent counter to the ghosts en masse. This drop. A single Parasitic Bomb could be devastating. He's not able to get it out there. Are there any Hydras on the field? I don't believe so. Widowmine's coming in again. Manages to drop him out. Drilling Claws. Gets a few more drones. Dark cleans it up. Building armor on the way. Getting those ultra late game upgrades to counter the Ultras. +3 armor. Greater Spire and another Spire for upgrades. Meanwhile, Maru is building defensive lines in the middle of the map. This Widowmine still not dealt with, but the Ravagers, smart counter to the individual mines. Let's have a few Ravagers in the late game. Why is there an SCV attacking? Trapped in a prison of his own design. Bit of a B plot here. Maybe more like a D-, but... Nuclear missile in production. 4 more barracks, going up to 12. As we get into our by far the most dramatic game so far. Dark and Maru, both with money in the bank. Upgrades nearly maxed out. Sensor towers across the field. Zerglings streaming in towards the third. Maru coming back to defend. It's a single Widow Mine out there. The Ghosts on the way up. Burrow is done. Just throwing that one out there in case it becomes relevant, but another army comes in from Dark. Corrosive Bios actually landing across the board. Not finding too many kills, but Maru does lose some SCVs in that position. And the Banelings were burrowed. They unburrow and killed 9 more. Or at least several more in total. Starting to clear up the defenses in the center. Dark working his way through. He's still got plenty of money. Ghosts, Widow Mines from either side, drawing targets on the Zerg. High-sec auto tracking is now done for the turrets, and I guess for planetaries. I don't know how many are out there right now. The Zerglings interrupting the snipes. There's a Ghost trying to nuke, but decides, you know what, I'll just go around. I think he was trying to nuke one of these bases. And, well, the nuke is fired off. Will Dark see it? The dot, it seems pretty obvious, but it's actually like behind this pump. Dark. Oh, he notices, but it's actually a little late. He's gonna lose a couple drones. Or he timed it perfectly. I don't know. He saw it late, but he saw it, and that's the important point. Another nuke on the way. That Ghost feeling very stressed out right now. He's manually detonating Banes, but it takes like 7 of them, so eventually gets the Ghost. Fusion core on the way, probably for advanced ballistics. The Ghost count getting real dramatic here. He's got 10 of them. Multiple starports, command centers, the fusion core, +3 plating for his mech units here. Nearly completed. Whereas +3 about to finish across the board for Dark. +3 melee and ranged attack. The Widow Mines will burrow. Another nuke on the same spot. This one spotted immediately. He actually tries to hide the Ghost over here. And pretty efficient trade still with the Banelings. The Zerglings trying to overrun. Widow Mines take out a medevac. I think there were some Ghosts in that one. And even without the Infestors, the Widow Mines helping out enough. He's going to turn around and snipe off some of the Overseers. Knocks out the detection, which could set up another attack where Dark literally can't see it coming. But more taken out. Yeah, Dark. Well, Maru and Dark both taking out Ghosts so far. EMPs actually misses the mark on the Vipers. He's able to retreat in time. Some of the Widow Mines are dealt with. Some of them, well, diffused. And Dark is still holding. Maru can't seem to make too much progress here. But the Ghosts line up some shots and knock out an Ultralisk. Advanced ballistics on the way, inspiring the 3 starports, which just finished reactors. God, mass Liberator on the agenda. Maru's actually a cut-in-half map here. Directly down the center. Rarely do we see it so perfectly split, but neither player able to find a lot of damage against the bases of their... Wow, that is a cinematic mini-map right there. That is crazy. The Zerglings trying to draw out the mine hits. More Infestors on the way. He knows he needs something to interrupt those Ghosts. 18 Ghosts now, and adding Liberators for the ultimate endgame composition. Dark, does he have Neural Parasite? Borrowing some of those units might be helpful. +3 plating completed. The Overseer count. There's 7 of them. He's lost only 4 so far this game. 300 Zerglings. Caduceus reactors on the way. Medevac energy regen. Because why not? The Zerglings may very well overrun this planetary fortress. Parasitic Bomb. Viper nearly dead. Viking takes it out. Zerglings going to surround and take out the planetary. Maru engaging the base to the north in trade. A nuclear missile, more Liberators. Both sides able to take out those center bases. Relatively unchallenged, as neither of them willing to risk it. Dark has 5,800 gas in the bank. That's a lot to break here, but Maru is building the right army to do it. 4 planetary fortresses. Here's another one of them. More Banelings coming in. Targeting the Banelings before they get close. Gonna get the planetary. The Ghost count is so damn high. It's got 19 Ghosts. The command centers are everywhere. The only reason Maru doesn't have 7,000 minerals right now is because he has 20 command centers. Oh my. More command centers than your base has room for. 9 orbitals, 3 planetaries, however many else. He's sniping Zerglings, which is just offensive. 7 Liberators at a time. Maru is marching forward. Dark hasn't really found time to build an army to counter this. It feels like Maru just kind of sweeping the field now, and Dark with no response. A zoning nuclear missile. And the Ghost will die, but the snipe's coming through. EMP on all the infestors. The Ghost's able to retreat. The detection is mostly taken out. There's no energy on anything. The snipes turn everything around. Dark down to 140 supply. The Ghost still sniping out the Corruptors. The Liberators maintaining the field. The Terran army holds the line. And Dark, what is the answer? Hydras? Mings? More Well, that's certainly one of them. Maru doesn't give up much ground and strikes back with a vengeance. Dark completely unable to break that Terran army. And Maru with a decisive victory, I would say. Going into the ace match. How long has it been since we've seen these two in such a match? Too long. Too long. To be needlessly dramatic. Well, needfully dramatic, actually. I stand by it. It'll be Alcyone. I'm very glad that Dark didn't just roach all in and walk over him again. That's what I'm very glad of. Even though, well, he did look a little lost there. It all came together for Maru. He just did not stop building command centers. He continued teching up and building the right death ball that is nigh unbeatable for Zergs not named Cyril. And that brings us to Game 7. Alcyone. Maru, are you gonna bookend this? I thought he might go for another 2 racks. We're gonna end it how we started. No, no. Maru versus Dark. I think this series has delivered. Either way, it'd be awesome if you haven't yet. If you made it this far, haven't liked and subscribed. So, it looks like we're going to have a relatively greedy early game here. So, a lot of you know, there are some new RTS games coming out. Stormgate, Zero Space. There's Homeworld 3 I'm looking forward to. And several more throughout this year. So, if you haven't yet checked it out, I have a second channel, Winter Gaming, which is a bit less specific than Winterstarcraft, believe it or not. Not that we're not going to use this for some content, but as time goes on, I have and do continue to plan. I have been using and continue and plan to continue. Why am I struggling with these words? Anyways, there's a second channel. You can find the info in the description. I've got more content from those games, streams, stuff like that. Maybe a little less professional than we have here. A little less polished. But still, if you're looking for more things to spend your time on, it'd be awesome if you could subscribe over there as well. But otherwise, I don't plan on stopping StarCraft 2 anytime soon. I always plan to show good games for the fans. If I enjoy it, I would like to think that you would as well, because that's kind of the point of all this, is I really enjoy casting and watching great games. So, I hope you do too. Thank you for watching. I hope to make your day a little bit better. Whatever that means, whenever it is, wherever you are, and whoever you are. Thank you for watching. Cyclones. Is he gonna go mech again? This is actually a 2-base Hell clone timing. Maru, I said we were gonna get like a relatively passive, but nope. No 3cc. This is a 2-base timing here, Maru. Which, it's not all in, but it certainly needs to get something done to justify it. Alright, Dark just has queens for now. He's building 3 roaches. Does he have ling speed? No. Notably. So, without Ling speed, he's relying on just the queens and roaches. This is not Hellbats. The Cyclones add a lot of extra damage against the queens. Really, let's see if Maru tries to take down the creep spread. There's a Liberator headed in. Dark does not have any spores. Not expecting the Liberator follow-up here. Though, does have the queens back at home to try to box it out here. Get off my creep! Sorry. Meanwhile, the Hellions slip into the natural and there's no defense. The queens scramble. Already 3 drones down. Gonna find a few more. The queen's on the ramp. Dark mitigating this quite well so far. 7 drones. And the roaches are on the other side, but the Cyclones are almost untouchable with perfect micro. It's almost impossible to have perfect micro, but a Banshee on the way as well. Dark is down to 40 drones. He needs to get the damage done here. Most of Maru's infrastructure, thankfully for him, it looks like Stim will complete just in time at the natural. The Liberator has come back to defend as well. But breaking through the reactor, Dark, the reluctant battering ram here, will break through the front lines. Banshee, such an important part. It feels like this is almost a cinematic conclusion, where we're combining all the builds from the previous game into a single experience. The Maru will not fall here. He has to retreat. His barracks are burning, but the Banshee and just the Cyclones on defense are going to be enough. But Dark buys himself a lot of space. And that means he's able to get his drone count back up to a healthy number. He starts the lair. Maru's going to have significantly quicker upgrades. 1-1 done almost by the time Dark finishes his evolution chambers, which is quite a disparity. But it is going to be also quite a disparity in unit compositions, as Maru's just not going to have that many Marines for quite a while yet. He's just now finishing his ranks. He just got the reactors. A Banshee combined with these Cyclones here, helping out. The Liberator into the natural, gonna require a response, but Dark looking the other way for a moment. Will lose several drones because of it. Corrosive Bile, oh my god, doesn't actually finish it. He gets 6 drones. Quite a surprising take at this stage. There was nothing else really keeping him from killing that Liberator besides just the time it took to reposition. Maru clearing creep with the Banshees. It truly feels like the whole cast is here on both sides. You got the Queens defending with the Spore Crawlers running around, Roach Ravager as well. Meanwhile, Maru Cyclones, Banshees, Liberator, and now going into the Marine tank. But overall, I favor Maru's position slightly in this scenario, because he has the upgrades, he has the armory on the way, and this map is great for siege tank pushes. Maru very well could organize a deadly push on Dark's 4th base, which is usually the focal point. He's setting up these defenses at his 3rd to sandbag any sort of attack. This has become the trend, is not to outright wall off your opponent at this stage of the game, but instead just make it difficult, like a tower defense style. You know what? Pro players need to play more tower defense. That's what they need. It's like, it says every Bronze League hero. But there is some truth to it, because funneling the Zerg is oftentimes better than trying to stop them entirely. A Roach Ravager taking out one of the rocks, opening up more space, which, like, they don't like to be funneled. I just mentioned that. The Queens. Oh, Susan! Oh my god, they killed... Ah! Oh, they're getting all of us! They're all dead. Sorry, I blacked out. 6 Queens dead. The Marines gun them down. And now the Banshees come in as all the Queens are dead. And, there's none to... Are you kidding me? He has no Queens? Oh, it's a disaster. Maru with the Wombo combo. There's no other anti-air besides Spores right now, and like the occasional Corrosive Bile. but relying on something that's more akin to an average frat party as opposed to a reliable anti-air unit is probably not the best way to go. But that's enough about fungal growth and corrosive bio. You know what? It just making it weird. There are Vipers on the way. Infestor, Ravager, Viper is the combination that Dark needs, but does he have enough of it? Maru finishing +2 weapons soon for his infantry. Armor not far behind. Mech weapons as well. Siege tanks. On the low ground here, a pretty devastating position. The Ravagers. Oh, I think he missed one. Yes, he missed a corrosive bile. Gonna catch a couple of these units. Huge counterattack here. Wow, look at that position. The siege tank, I think, accidentally walled off there a little bit, but clearly a great spot. Meanwhile, though, oh my god, that's a beautiful spot for a siege tank if it was only sieged up. A drop to the north. Dark, the counterattack is good, bordering on great. But Maru was able to take out a base. Dark holds on to his 4th. He rebuilds his queens, so he will hold for now. But Maru is starting to add in ghosts. He's got 4 and 5 bases, including the goal. He's got a planetary at the gold, multiple extra command centers. Dark has burrow. And again, Maru hasn't started his 3-3. The only thing that's really missing here are those endgame upgrades, which is kind of surprising at this stage of the game. But the Infestor waiting underneath. He's looking for the opportunity. Pops up, surprise! Huge fungal! Wombo combo! Rolls through! Parasitic bomb! The Metamax! They're all dead! And Dark sweeps the field! He pops up and knocks down everything in front of him. Dark with the perfect setup, the perfect fight, and the perfect follow-through. Everything came together. Dark is able to hold on. And now Maru is once again... There's no wall at the top of the ramp here. How many... Maru does have 8... He should have enough reinforcements to deal with this, but he's clearly scrambling to defend, which allows Dark to retake his position on the map. God, these two are so good. These last 2 games have been incredible. Before it was a strategic back end. Oh my god, 18 SCVs, 21 SCVs. Maru plummets to 70. Okay, he's fine on that sense. But wait, there's more. Ravagers on to the planetary fortress. More banelings rolling in and rolling back, rolling it again. More Zerglings into the natural. Dark is keeping Maru back, but Maru's supply is still at 180. Dark is starting to bank up money. He's got no other late game tech. He doesn't have Ultralisk. He doesn't have Broodlords or Lurkers. He just has the Ling, Bane, Infestors, and some Vipers thrown in. But Maru? Oh my god, that Ling. The scouting Ling. That's beautiful. The little details. And another scan. Was that an accident, or did he just have a Ling over there? I don't know. But Dark. You might knock him down, but you don't knock him out easily. Oh, another Infestor. He's just scanning his way across the map. Maru not willing to make the same mistake again. He's got 6 orbitals. He can afford these. He's maxed out, but a huge counterattack. Dark has over 100 Zerglings on the field and still enough supply left over. And he's into the main! There's no wall! The Zerglings are inside the house. 18 SCVs, 25 SCVs dead. And now this is real damage here. 30 SCVs! And Maru is scrambling back. He took out 1 base, but he may lose all of his own. 40! He's knocked down to 40. And the siege tanks left on the field. Where are the medevacs? There's not actually enough to fight this outright. Maru only now getting +3 weapons. He essentially did a 2-2 all in. And now Dark has 3-3 nearly completed. He has to scan. There are burrowlings everywhere. It's like playing the campaign right now. And Dark is rolling in, takes out another planetary. More siege tanks. Maru is supply blocked from lost command centers. And Maru, it looked like he was setting up for that deadly position, but Dark did not let that happen. He knew where it was going, and he took steps and slithered underneath and flew over in order to circumvent it. And now the main base. The factories are burning. The Zerglings are still going to work. Another planetary targeted. More bio coming back, going forth. Maru doesn't know where to go right now, but Dark has a very good idea of his direction. The Zergs continue rushing forth. And Dark has money in the bank. Maru's supply continues to dwindle. Dark has over 100 Zerglings. That seems to be a permanent fixture. And he keeps burrowing them, and they might die, but every scan costs him. Another orbital. The factory is dead. The starport is dead. Maru is supply blocked. The Ravagers and the Banelings, but the Ghosts are still too dangerous to engage. 100 supply. The Ghost Academy itself. The last barracks. Maru has lost most of his main. He's trying to land at the gold, but Dark is broken through. And the Ravager corrosive bile almost enough to knock down the burning orbital. And it doesn't matter. It will burn. Like Maru's chances of taking this series, Dark will take a costly fight. But Maru has nothing to follow up with. Dark right now, the income, 3,000 income in his favor. Maru barely has any income at all, so that tells you the number. But at the end of the day, the final boss looks like he may very well get the better of Maru. Wow, this was an absolute masterclass. Maru did a great job of setting it up, but Dark just ripped him apart. Wow. GG in one of the most impressive dismantlings in Terran versus... I'm gonna miss Dark so much. It is so, just to put a very bittersweet note on this, I am Katowice 2024, in case you're watching this epic series in the future. May very well be Dark's last tournament, at least until his obligatory military service. He's been playing the best StarCraft 2 of his life, the most entertaining, and he takes down Maru. Not a small feat on any day, but this series, absolutely incredible. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Thank you to the World Team League and Masters Coliseum for having these great matches. If you have the means and motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon. But I hear liking and subscribing. Still free for now. And of course, checking out recommended autoplay helps a lot. Go check out every series these two have ever played on my channel. Or even not on my channel, but ideally there. Second channel as well. Not that there's Dark versus Night. I digress. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.